It's been a trying few years for Manitoba producers, and once again, a very dry spring has created drought conditions throughout parts of Manitoba, with Environment and Climate Change Canada predicting a similarly hot and dry summer ahead during those pivotal growing months. Joining me now to share more about how Manitoba producers are faring, we have Jill Verwey, president of Keystone Agricultural Producers. Jill, thanks so much for being with us.
Well, thanks for having me to discuss what's happening with agriculture here in Manitoba today this summer.
I think so many of us who live in the city and we don't question where our food comes from and we don't know about the hardships of the producers. Sometimes this news doesn't reach us. I was surprised to see at Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada's drought monitor that drought intensity ranges in Manitoba from normally dry to extreme. So what have you been hearing from producers and how is it affecting their operations?
I think what we're seeing right now is we were really early getting our crop in the ground, and right now, particularly over the course of the month of May and June, where we have a lot of our rainfall in the majority of the province, we were anywhere from 50% of normal to maybe as high as 70% of normal. But there's probably a few areas in the province that we haven't had hardly any rain since the crop run went into the ground. So we're starting to see that stress on those crops right now, and thinking of our livestock producers and beef producers in the north and Interlake area and to the east of the city, that the stress is definitely starting to see, particularly in dugout levels, being at lower levels than we'd like to see at this time of year. So we're really starting to see some of the stress of that lack of rainfall. In the last day, and certainly the forecast that I've seen here into the next 14 days, hopefully we're going to see some moisture and some rainfall. It looks optimistic as I look at the forecast this morning, but that changes on a daily basis and hourly basis too. So hoping for the best.
Of course, this is a very familiar struggle for a lot of producers. There have been droughts the last number of years. I'm specifically thinking about 2021 as being particularly harsh. Is this simply the new normal for producers?
I don't know if it's I guess it's weather is cyclical, right? So you're going to see ebbs and flows. I think certainly we're seeing maybe more occurrence of more torrential rain and more violent storms coming through than maybe what I've seen in my lifetime of farming. But if you talk to individuals that have been farming for 50 or 60 years, they can remember back in the 70s or 80s when we've certainly gone through similar occurrences. But I think it's the availability of information and social media, where this is really, you open your phone and you can see it happening right across Canada, and you can certainly see the huge devastation that's even happening to our neighbors to the south. If I can think to Texas right now, where they're battling really violent, amounts of water and flash flooding. So I think we have it easier right at our fingertips right now, and definitely I think where we feel it is in our pocketbook, in the increased risk and the amount of money that's invested in crops, and ensuring that there's definitely a heightened stress level and reliance on Mother Nature helping us out because of the huge investment cost in our crops that we have in the field right now.
And just really quickly before we say goodbye, you mentioned Mother Nature. If you could be, pulling the strings on the weather front, what would you like to see on the weather front? What's kind of the ideal situation to try and turn things around this season?
Well, I think ideally, specifically in some of these dry regions, if you can have those a nice soaking rain that occurs over a couple days, where you get, even a couple inches of rain at this time would really, I think, in a lot of cases, help out those cereals that are almost to that filling stage right now, or they're starting to bolt, and guys are looking at fungicides to actually finish the crop. It's not going to finish the crop, but definitely right now those nice even rains over a couple days would probably be really welcome, as opposed to a thunder shower coming through where you get the rain in about 15 to 20 minutes.
Alrighty, well, we will leave it there. Jill, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.